Good morning, or well, good afternoon. Welcome everybody to the vSphere Cluster API public meeting. Today is March 25th, 2019. I just want to give a reminder. I haven't done this on a consistent basis, but a reminder that this is a public meeting. So if you're working on any proprietary projects, don't bring it up in this meeting. I'm going to go ahead and paste the meeting notes link in the chat here. And if you guys have any topics that you want to discuss, please go ahead and add it to the document right now. So why don't we go ahead and share my my screen. So right now, the main thing I wanted to discuss was the issue scrub, because this is basically the last week to finish up items, and we don't have as much help these last couple of weeks. So I think that we need to scrub this issue list very carefully today. Now, before we started this meeting, Nate had a topic that he wanted to bring up. Nate, you want to go ahead and talk about it, and then I'll just
I'm about to mention a PR, so let me just look up what that is.
Was it a PR to the vSphere provider? Did it?
No, the cluster API.
Oh, to the cluster API. Okay.
Yeah. Simply that I had spent a little bit of time last week getting the current version of the cluster API code running in a cluster and the current version of cluster API provider vSphere running in the particular dev setup that I have used before, and mostly got things to work. Eventually got things to work. There are some changes first to catch up with the cluster name that is now semi-optional, and there's actually a bug in upstream cluster API with PR 836 that fixes it, so that which means that if you've set the cluster name on the machine, then it never gets fully reconciled. So this is a small oops.
It's you said a name on the machine, or the name?
Actually, on the machine set or machine deployment.
It never finishes the reconciliation?
Yeah, I'll just paste this into the, simple error.
Okay.
But I ran into it and was perplexed for a little while.
Okay. Great. Looks like it's already been accepted and improved.
Yeah. Simple stuff.
Simple stuff is always sometimes the best.
I did run into something else that I haven't had time to investigate. And I was in this development system, I was kind of mismanaging a lot of machines, scaling up and down. And twice I observed that that the machine set had deleted a machine. The machine was entirely gone, but the VM was still running in vSphere.
Okay. Can you write up an issue on that?
I don't.
Even if you don't have full evidence, at least write it up so that, we can try to reproduce it.
Right. I don't have a good scenario for reproducing it. It wasn't the thing that I was really focusing on. It was just, ooh, that doesn't look right. That's probably a bug somewhere in some sort of race condition or a competition for timing.
How long of time you wait for the VM to disappear? Like a few minutes?
I'm sorry?
Yes, how long did you wait for the machine to delete? Was it
Oh,
a few minutes or?
minutes. You know, half an hour probably. It was much later that I looked at the vSphere console and saw a virtual machine
Okay.
that no longer had a machine attached to it. So
Okay.
the machine, the deletion of the CR happened without removing the VM.
Okay. You can write up a bug, an issue, and just call it sporadic and
Right.
don't step to reproduce. But it's something that it's good just to have an issue so that we can keep an eye on if we ever see that happen.
Right. I'm bringing it up now because I thought maybe you have seen it happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I have not yet seen it happen yet.
Right.
So. Okay, so I was thinking that we need to go through and scrub the issue board one more time because we're quickly running out of time um, and really most of the issue have my name on it. And I'm not going to be able to finish all of them this week. Unfortunately, getting towards the end, we've had some resource diversion, and so I had to take on pretty much all the issues myself. So let's go ahead and go through all this. Okay, so the first one is documentation. I will get to this one today, and I will have this documented today unless somebody else wants to take it. This is just to document our support matrix for Cluster API and Kubernetes. Put it onto the top README page. If somebody wants to take it, please take it. Otherwise, I'll do it. I'm working on some upstream CAPI main Cluster API documentation right now. So I guess I'll just do this at the same time. Does anybody want to take this or? Okay, it's not a big deal. I'll just do it. It's a small issue. Let's move on to the next issue. So we'll just keep that in v1 alpha 1. The next one is cannot get kube config. So this is an issue. I don't know who this person is. This person has filed a couple of issues that we have resolved, but this one, there have been a lot of discussion, and I read through this. But so this person was not able to get the kube config for the cluster. Oh, sorry. Was not able to get the kube config for the cluster. And we found a couple of issues in the last 2 weeks, and we resolved them. The first is that if you specify, and he says that he tried both DHCP and static network type, and DHCP worked, but static did not. And this is actually a known issue. The issue is, hey, Hui, can you take notes while I'm talking? Because I can't type at the same time. Hui?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, thanks. So this issue, when you want to use static IP address, you need to have a custom cloud init image. Inside that cloud init image, you need to have the VMware data source installed. That wasn't documented. I documented it last week. I want to continue adding more details on how to create that VM template, but I am still working on that. So that was a documentation issue, but both Hui and Siddharth asked a bunch of questions in here, and what while reading through this, I said that there seems to be multiple problems mentioned in this issue, and I made some comments in here and asked for more information from this user, and I haven't gotten any response back. So this could be an issue, and it might not be an issue. There were a couple of problems that he stated in this issue, and some of them are known, like I said, the documentation issue with the static IP. The other was that he was trying to create multiple masters. And if you create multiple masters right now, if you're using cluster CTL, you cannot get the kube config from other masters because it currently doesn't allow you to do that. I gave instructions on how to do that manually, and then I also requested some of the YAML files, and I haven't gotten any word back. And at this point, I don't think that we can do this in this milestone, resolve this. I don't expect any response from him. So I think I want to move this to milestone next. Does anybody have any disagreement?
No, disagree.
You know, I've always changed the milestone by clicking on this button, but I've noticed that other people, you can do this. And let me see if this works. So I did milestone next. Does it? It didn't switch. Okay, so I'll just move it manually. Milestone next. Okay. The next one is automated version builds. Originally, Hui was going to work on this, and Fabio. Unfortunately, they've been diverted, and I put my name onto it in case I had time to work on it. I am not going to be able to make it in time. So I think at this point, it says critical urgent. I think we need to lower the priority because we gotta move into next. I just cannot get to it unless somebody on the line wants to work on this. I think we gotta move into milestone next. There's just not any resource to work on it right now. I'll say important soon. Remove urgent critical. And move into next. Okay. Which means that when we tag this, we're going to have to build this manually for now, for V1 Alpha 1. Okay. And I'm just going to remove everybody's name and let whoever works on it next work on it. So those were the two that I wanted to move. The next one, CI/CD, add some tests to validate Bootstrap and target cluster. My name is still on this. Hui is still name is still name is still assigned to this. I said in my last comment that we could I think we can use cluster CTO validate cluster for this. It has some simple validation, and I'm going to look at it again to see what it actually tests, but I think that we should just use this to do the validation of the target cluster. I'm not sure about the Bootstrap cluster. I don't think we really care about the Bootstrap cluster. But in any case, the reason why I want to use cluster CTL validate cluster is because that even if it's not complete, that validate functionality, as we add more code to that validate path, it will the validation in CI/CD will just improve with that. So instead of writing our own scripts, which I was heading down the path last year, and I never picked it back up. But if we wanted to do more validation, I would have to write more scripts to it. And we have this parallel path of CI/CD script, and then this validate functionality in cluster CTL has this validate. So I think we should just abandon all the scripts and stuff I was working on, and then rely on cluster CTL validate. So at this point, I think that it still might be possible for me to get to this. So I'm just going to leave this one open. Siddharth is on. Hey, Siddharth, I moved that issue that you were assigned to next, the one where Strobius 123 could not get kube config. Are you there, Siddharth? Okay, maybe he's having audio issues. But if you want to look at that and see my last comments to the user, I don't think that we're going to get that resolved because I haven't heard back from him for a couple of days. And the last time that you and Hui talked to him, you guys didn't get any response back for a while either. So I don't think it's that important either. I think we might have solved some of his problems the last 2 weeks. We just don't know because we just don't have enough information. So now the last two items on here are writing unit tests. Write test for Govimami provisioner. This seems like a very big encompassing test. Oh, right, unit tests. Okay. I'm just going to keep that open for now. Okay, these last two issues, 49 and 48, are unit test issues. So I am going to try to get those two today as soon as I finish this documentation and the documentation fixes I need to make for the main cluster API repo. Other than that, I think we only have 4 more issues left. And if anybody wants to help with any of these issues, please volunteer. I don't mind. I don't mind if somebody wants to grab one, take them from me. Otherwise, if there are no other issues, well, let me just ask: does anybody have any other issues that you want to bring up today? As far as CAP-V or Cluster API vSphere provider, this is the last week for V1 Alpha 1, and I don't think that there's any other issues to discuss or any other topic to discuss. Okay, going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, I say that we end this meeting now and then give you guys the rest of the day. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye. Thanks.